Hi, I know you missed this format, and to be honest, I didn't miss it at all, but I accidentally wiped the footage of town driving where I do the whole intro bit without making a backup on time, so I am using this extra footage that I took of driving. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Toyota Corolla Cross. It's been about a year since I last drove a Toyota on the channel, just over a year, and that was the Camry, which was excellent. And now we have the Corolla Cross. As the name implies, the Toyota Corolla Cross is a crossover version of the immensely popular Toyota Corolla. It arrived in 2022 for, I think that was 2022 for the Macedonian market, and it is the first time that the word cross has been put on the back of a Toyota Corolla, and the first time that the Toyota Corolla has been offered as a crossover. It also recently received a pretty significant facelift, which is what we have here. And this particular test car is wearing an Executive Plus trim level, which means a little bit above the base model. And it also has the slightly stronger hybrid powertrain. So let's go ahead and hop right into the driving. Not that I knew that it was going to turn out this way, but regardless, we have enough footage for me to say that in terms of driving in town, the Toyota Corolla Cross feels like a Toyota Corolla. There's not really a whole lot to say other than that. It's nothing particularly groundbreaking or pants on fire setting. That's not a phrase that I just invented that. But it's also not bad in any way. It's just good. It drives like a Toyota Corolla. It is worth noting that the stronger hybrid powertrain does get more sophisticated suspension, double wishbones at the back as opposed to a torsion beam. And you can tell it rides very well, the visibility is pretty good, and it's all a very solid experience without too much drama. There's not really a whole lot else to say. Again, it drives like a Toyota Corolla, and if you don't know what that means, it's good. It's not going to annoy you. It's not going to set your pants on fire either. It's just good. The most entertaining thing behind the wheel of the Corolla Cross is the way the engine revs out when you give it full throttle. It is fun to listen to. And while I will say the handling is secure, it's in no way fun. And I don't think that applies to the GR Sport variant either. This is, at the end of the day, still a Toyota Corolla. In terms of fuel economy in the city, 4 or 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers of driving. And that's about all there is to say about the town experience. So let's go ahead and the cornering abilities as well. So now let's go ahead and hop over to the highway in which this video continues normally. All right, ladies and gents, we're about to join the highway as we usually do. Can you stop? The speed recognition, the traffic sign recognition system is painstakingly confused right now. It doesn't know what to do with itself. All right, let's switch to sport mode. Sorry, power. It's not called sport mode in this car. I should have remembered that. And as you'll see in a moment, surprising amount of shove. Then again, we do have a good amount of power, which we will get to, but it's very good. That wasn't even full throttle and perfectly good acceleration. So I'm not gonna bore you with the spiel about this tarmac on this part of the highway. This car, I should say, is on Dunlop something max tires. We're gonna give it full throttle after the road works part of the highway, this particular stretch. Yeah, I think there's still road works. We can switch back to normal mode for now. I should say as well, this being the latest generation of Toyota's hybrid system, there's no more CVT drone. Once you settle in at a certain speed, like right now, it stops droning and just sort of calms itself down. So there's basically no engine noise. All you hear is the road noise and a little bit of wind noise. It really is basically imperceptible. There's a tiny little bit of wind noise. And there's the roadworks, predictably. While we're dealing with the roadworks, I'm going to try and remember if I have any other grievances with this car's driving experience. Well, there's the fact that there's a B mode for the transmission, which we're in right now for regen braking. I am kind of confused. This is a hybrid, and B mode should not be optional, because if you're in drive without B, there's no regen braking at all. And frankly, I would like to have regen braking the whole time because, again, this is a hybrid, but that's just me. Okay, and go. That's full throttle. Okay. That was pretty freaking good. Camera. Oh yeah, you can't adjust these displays on the gauge cluster screen, most of them, while you're on the move. Which I understand why, because it's needlessly complicated and silly, but you can't do that, which is odd. I don't think I've seen that before. I appreciate Toyota's concern for the driver, but I would like to adjust at least what's shown in the middle of the screen to some extent while on the move. Anyway, that's really about it for the experience on the highway. Again, it's a Toyota Corolla. Little bit of noise, as I said, but it's very comfy. It has no problem picking up speed, as you saw. It's very secure. There's adaptive cruise control if you want to have a more of a, I was going to say hands-off, but no, do not do that. A feet-off experience, if you will. Somebody in the comment section is going to spin that and annoy me. It drives like a Toyota Corolla on the highway, which means it's good. Again, won't set your pants on fire, but it's very good and it's very competent. That's about it, really. You might join me in a moment to take some photos of this car. If not, I'll see you all for the tour of the features. All right, welcome to the Korrmotive signature filming location. Let's check out the Corolla Cross up close. So first of all, like I said before, this is a facelift Corolla Cross. And for my American viewers watching this video, the European spec Corolla Cross has always been a little bit different to the American specification cars. The biggest news with the facelift was this new front-end design with the honeycomb pattern on the grille. And a couple of days prior to filming this video, Toyota also revealed the facelifted Yaris Cross, which gets this similar front-end arrangement. Also, the headlights have been updated, and on some trim levels, this little bar going across here that encapsulates the Toyota badge, if you will, that also lights up in little dim LEDs, which is pretty cool. For some reason, this car did not get the hammerhead lights. It's a bit of an interesting thing going on with Toyota right now, where half of the model lineup gets the hammerhead lights and the other half does not. I'm sure that eventually all of them will get that new design treatment, but for now, the Corolla Cross doesn't have that. There's a skid plate looking thingy in the bumper, and plenty of plastic cladding all over the place. This is a crossover after all. One thing I do want to mention is the size of the Corolla Cross. Toyota pitches the Corolla Cross here as a C SUV, which means it's in the same segment as the Ford Kuga, the Volkswagen Tiguan, and all of those. However, Toyota already has a C SUV, the RAV4, obviously, and the Corolla Cross here is a little bit smaller. It's sort of taking up this odd limbo between the CHR and the RAV4, because it's bigger than the Yaris Cross, slightly, but it's not bigger than the RAV4. But it's meant to offer similar sort of practicality in a smaller footprint, which is, you know, appreciable, admirable, if you will. This particular one has 18-inch alloy wheels, and this design is much better than the one they had previously. You also probably noticed at this point the running boards, which are a dealer accessory. My dealer is currently doing a promotion on dealer accessories like, you know, roof boxes and cargo nets and running boards. And they're just about the most pointless running boards I've ever seen, because you literally don't need them. Unless you're 4'5" or something, then you don't need the running boards. They're just there for show. And they also eat up your ground clearance. Not that that's really important in this case, but, you know. By the way, this color, I said I would check the spec sheet to see what the color is called, and I didn't do it, so I'm now going to do that. This color is called... Oh, it doesn't have a name. The spec sheet just says pearl white. So there you go. It's pearl white. It's not the base regular white. It's an optional, a slightly higher cost option. But this is an optional color, and it's only available on the Executive Plus and upwards, which is what this car is. The Executive Plus trim level, which is one step above the base Executive, which is kind of an oxymoron calling the base model the Executive, but whatever. There are a few extra embellishments which we will get to. Also, there's a chrome piece of trim running the greenhouse area like this, and Corolla Cross is stamped into it. I don't know if you can see that with all this reflection on the sunny day, but it says Corolla Cross there. And as for the rear end, that's been updated as well. You get more of that skid plate treatment and more black cladding, of course. You got some redesigned taillights, which are full LED items now. The front ones are as well. And instead of a Corolla Cross badge, you have Corolla
stamped into the tailgate and Cross in big letters embossed into the tailgate. And the new Toyota hybrid badge here with that little nebula arrangement. There you go. So what do I think of the Corolla Cross's design? Oh yeah, forgot to mention these little fins on the taillights. I think they're there for aerodynamic purposes, which is helpful for fuel economy. Same for those little fins that are jutting out of the plastic fender flares. The design of the Corolla Cross is, well, it's fine. It's not ugly. It's not, it's not gonna win any design awards, I don't think. But it's nice. It looks good. It looks purposeful. It's a Corolla crossover. That's what it was meant to do, and it does that surprisingly well. That's really all I can say about that. So let's move on to the nitty-gritty, practicality, and all of that other stuff. So the key fob, really quickly. It's a standard Toyota key fob. Pretty much all the Toyota models use this now. It has 3 buttons. There's lock. There you go, LED turn signals back there. Unlock. And the tailgate release, which is automatic in the Executive Plus trim level. Opening up the cargo area reveals 425 liters of space. The base model with the smaller engine gets a little bit more space, and the all-wheel drive equipped versions get less space than this, but 425 is pretty solid. There you go, move the cargo shelf out of the way so you can see what's going on. You get some hooks, you get some LED illumination. This cargo shelf here is removable through those catches. You can fold down the rear seats using those handles, and if you do, you get that much room. My equipment bags, you already know. And there's also, I think, what appears to be false storage. Let's see. Yes, there's some extra storage underneath here and some accessory parts. I don't know what all this is, but you do get some extra storage under the seats. Once you're done, you have 2 options. You can close the tailgate normally, or you can close the tailgate and lock the doors, which is a genius feature. It's kind of disappointing that most other cars don't offer that. Anyway, I'm not going to close it straight away because I want to put back the cargo shelf to stop prying eyes from stealing my equipment. That's how you do it. Yes, okay. And then you just push your button, and you know how this goes. What about space in the back? Let's go ahead and climb in here. All right, this is fine. It's pretty good. I am 5'11" and a half, 1.8 meters tall, Discord moderator, Knee room is fine. This seat is obviously in my driving position, although I was expecting just a teeny bit more knee room, if I'm honest with you. Maybe the wheelbase is too short, I don't know. But if the driver is shorter, or if you're shorter, indeed, you won't have any issues. Even like this, it's perfectly fine. As for headroom, well, the roof does slope a little bit back here, but there's plenty of headroom, actually. Slightly disappointing. The back seat is, well, very much devoid of features in some way. It looks a little bit plain, a little bit unembellished. You get some climate vents here. There's no charge ports that I can see. Oh, no, wait, there are charge ports way in there that you cannot possibly see in this in the shade. There's a cup holder, not a storage pocket in the door, just a cup holder. Interesting. The windows are pretty heavily tinted. It's customary stuff, really. Hard plastic door panel, no surprise. And there seems, yes, there is a fold-down armrest with cup holders. So that's pretty cool. As for the middle seat, the floor seems to be pretty fine. So I'm going to move into the middle seat, see what happens. Ugh. Okay, rear seat, this one is a bit further back. There's zippers along the sides of the seats. Can you see that? That's odd. I don't know why that's there. Oh, and also, only the passenger seat gets a storage pocket. The driver's seat doesn't. That's a bit odd. Middle seat, it's fine. The footwells are big enough. That's fine. You can also slide your feet underneath this seat because it's pretty significantly raised. And you get a good view of the cabin as well. So overall, backseat room in the Corolla Cross is fine. But if you transport people regularly and you need all the room that's possible, you're probably better off with the RAV4. And now it's time for the front. The battery on my camera is going to die. Real quick, yes, obviously the Corolla Cross has keyless entry, so there's a little ridge there on the door handle. You tap that. And then when you're ready to go again, Interior, basically the same as the regular Corolla in just about every way. This particular one has cloth seats with this wavy 90s pattern. It's just not as colorful. And, well, there's not really a whole lot else that it immediately jumps out at you before you get in. So let's get in. And now we're inside the Corolla Cross. This probably goes without saying, but it starts up in EV mode every time. Can we rev it though? No, we can't rev it. It just flashes a warning. Accelerator pedal is pressed. Thanks, I know, because I did that. One of the first things that greets you in the Corolla Cross is this 3-spoke steering wheel. It's exactly the same sort of thing you'd find on a Corolla. It's pretty nice. The leather is very soft, very supple. There's some black stitching. There's some little grip extensions and some silver work like that. Over here you have a bunch of media-related controls. So volume up and down, voice commands. This responds, rather works with the gauge cluster screen, back button, and answer call. And on the other side you have previous next track, stereo mode, and ADAS. And in the middle you have the horn, which disappointingly sounds like this. Typical Toyota stuff, really. Being a hybrid-powered Toyota, the Corolla Cross comes standard with a CVT automatic transmission. And it's controlled through this lovely mechanical gear selector. You just press the release on the back, and you row through the gears. Very simple. That's drive, that's B for braking, or the mode that allows you to have regen braking all the time. As I said before, that should not be a separate mode, that should just be standard, but I digress. When you pop it into reverse, brings up your backup camera, parking sensors, and these guidelines. One thing I don't like about the backup camera, as I'm sure you noticed, everything that comes into the peripheral vision of the lens is warped like crazy, and sometimes that managed to tip off the rear cross-traffic alert system. Do better. That's really all there is to say about the transmission there. It's a CVT and it works perfectly fine. Infotainment system. I have no idea what size the screen is. I believe it's 12 inches, and it's sort of plonked on top of the dash. I apologize for the flickering, but that's due to the camera. There's not much I can do about that. Anyway, this is Toyota's most recent infotainment system, and it's very good. It's very beepy, as I'm sure you heard already. It's very responsive. The menus are very logical and easy to understand. Swipe gestures and all that works perfectly fine. And the UI is pretty clean and easily readable on the move. Also, Apple CarPlay works wirelessly perfectly. And look at these animations and this smoothness. Fantastic. Not much to say about the infotainment system. It's very good. Further down, look at this. Physical climate controls, and they're so simple and easy to understand. You got 2 temperature knobs and a bunch of switches. Off, front defrost, rear defrost, and mirror defrost as well. I have the same button on my Lexus. Fast Eco, fan speed down, fan speed up, zones, recirculating air. I'm not 100% sure what that does. I think it has something to do with the climate vents, like on some BMWs, and air conditioning. That's it. There's no climate menu in the infotainment system. Everything is here. It's very easy to reach, and it's all very easy to understand. And bonus points for using old school segmented LCD displays. That would have been a downside 10 years ago, but now it's just cool. In there, you have a wireless charger for your phone. I was going to say it's missing all the customary Toyota wireless charger warnings that people love to make fun of, but no, they're just over there instead of here somewhere. The other one is phone-shaped, but it's not a wireless charger. Over here you have 3 switches. There's traction control off, super, super important, EV mode, and drive mode. And as I said before, there's 3 drive modes, Eco, Normal, and Power. And they're all pretty self-explanatory. A single USB-C port there, auto hold, the parking brake, and your 2-stage heated seats. Pretty simple, really. Cup holders, and that's all there is to say about the center control stack. So let's move on to the instrument cluster. So these dials that you see here are completely optional. You don't have to have them. I just like to see this sort of thing so it looks a bit more old school. Well, let's go through them. You have your hybrid gauge here. You already know how this works. When you stabilize the throttle, the needle goes in eco. When you brake, it goes into charge. And when you floor it, it goes into power. In the center, you have your digital speed readout and your gear. And on the right is, of course, the speedometer and the hybrid system status. And on the other side, I've set it to show the average fuel consumption. And yes, the average fuel consumption really is that good. In order to adjust what's shown on the screen, well, it's a little complicated. You have to hold down the OK button here, and then use the D-pad to change which part of the screen you would like to reconfigure, like so. And then you just press left or right to go from instrument to instrument or back to the center. If you scroll down in the center section, you get to the settings, you press OK, and you can adjust your driver assistance systems, all of which are abbreviated, so good luck figuring out which one means which. If you're not into this sort of thing, you might have a hard time, but you can always consult the owner's manual. And in here you have the vehicle settings and the meter settings, where you can configure what you want your meters to look like. So you got meter type, there you go. You can have one in the middle, or you can have nothing at all. As I think I mentioned this before, but in order for you to change any of this, you have to be stationary and in park, which is annoying, but this takes a while to reconfigure, so I can understand why Toyota made it so that you have to be stopped to change the settings here. There you go, I just changed the gauge type. I don't like this particular gauge type myself, but I just wanted to show you how this whole thing works. This little EV light is obviously to tell you that the car is in EV mode. Ready, you know what that does. Coolant temperature. Overall odometer there. By the way, this car also has an odo button, so you can change which trip odometer is being shown on the screen. I haven't seen that in ages. Kind of makes it clear the type of audience this car is for, but we'll get to that. And on the other side, you have your range on the tank of fuel and the tank of fuel itself. Pretty simple. Turn signals. I love how mechanical they sound. Fairly standard. You got your wipers here, automatic lights and wipers on this one, and you have high beam assist as well. And down here you have some other physical controls. That's your high beam assist, obviously. That's your heated steering wheel, tailgate release all the way in there, and your headlight leveling switch. On the door panel, you have your window switches. Only the driver window lights up at night, which is confusing because they're all automatic. I thought that's what that meant. Rear window child locks, power locks, and your power mirror controls. You have the little joystick to adjust them, and you have 3 different settings here. If you push the switch down, it folds in the mirrors. If you leave it in the center, it folds them automatically when you lock the doors, and the up position is just to have them out the whole time. Sorry about that. I was addressing the mirrors. There's also the dichotomy of having 2 climate vents that close by moving them in one direction, and then having these open and close using little wheels. That was unusually difficult. Auto-dimming rearview mirror. Interior dome light controls. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Stop it. That was for the camera. Pretty self-explanatory. I like how they've done this sort of arrangement. It's cool. And you got your SOS button there, hidden in a little door, like a missile firing switch. And your vanity mirrors in your sun visors with illumination. They also have this really strange pattern, like they're supposed to be used as something else that's not just to open and close the mirrors, but that's not the case. So that's the interior of the Corolla Cross. That's the features. Pretty well equipped, and it's all very simple and easy to understand. And I love how many physical buttons there are. It's a nice change of pace from the stuff I deal with on the channel otherwise. However, I have a few problems with this interior. First of all, I mean, it could use with a little bit of brightening up, and I also love the both ends of the extreme on the dash. The top part of the dash is hard plastic, but this is like a synthetic leather material. Same applies to this armrest here on the door. I'm glad that that's padded, obviously, but it's a very interesting dichotomy. I keep using the word dichotomy, trying to sound like an intellectual, and I'm not. But that's a small issue. I would like a brighter, headliner, because it's a bit dark in here. Not as dark as the Ford Kuga, but, could use with a bit of brightening up. The main issue I have with this interior is the seating position. I believe that this car was conceived long after the interior design of the current generation Toyota Corolla was finalized. And what do I mean by that is this steering wheel is way too low. The dashboard, as I said, is lifted wholesale from the Corolla, but everything is higher up because this is a taller vehicle and it's a crossover, so people would like a taller driving position. And in my comfortable driving position, it looks something like this. I have to hold the steering wheel way lower down than I would like. Of course, the benefit of that is tons of headroom. I cannot believe how much headroom I have in here, but I would prefer if everything went a little bit here. I would like to hold the steering wheel like this and not down here. It's a bit difficult to, convey this on camera because you're not sitting in the car with me, but regardless, I do like that the infotainment system is very easy to reach, and I like that it's high up here, and I like that it's not tilted towards me, so the passenger can adjust something if they want to. But this whole thing, I wish the steering wheel and the gauge cluster and everything were a little bit higher up. And before you ask, yes, this is as high as the steering wheel goes. I can't move it any higher than this. But, eventually, I did get used to it, but when I got in the car the first time yesterday, it was a little bit, off-putting, I guess. But eventually you do get used to it to some extent. And finally, let's wrap this up with quality and storage. Quality, well, I could do with softer touch materials on the dash, but this is a Toyota with a 10-year warranty. Do I really need to tell you anything about the quality? I wasn't paid to say that. We just know that that's the objective truth of the matter. This is a Toyota, a hybrid-powered Toyota, and it will probably outlast you, me, and everybody else watching this video right now. As for storage, you get some sizable door pockets, although that bottle holder looks a little bit sort of tight, like it couldn't fit a wider bottle. But that's just me. Oh yeah, the fuel door release is here in the floor, like a lot of other Toyotas. You can see here as well how raised the seat is compared to the standard Corolla. There's a big platform here to mount the seat rails. So that whole thing that I was just explaining. There is a good amount of adjustment in the seating position. I just wish, again, the steering wheel would go a bit higher, although there's plenty of adjustment in the seat, and the lumbar support is electric. You have your phone-shaped storage areas here that I showed you, one of which is a wireless charger. You got 2 cup holders, one of which is holding a cup of coffee right now. See, I promised you that I would show that, and I am. A little bit of storage in the center, and a pretty decent glove box. That was unnecessarily forceful. So overall, the interior of the Toyota Corolla, it's nothing crazy, but it's very, very functional, and it's a nice place to spend time. See, I think that this car is geared a lot towards the elderly because it has so many physical controls and everything is so easy to understand, and well, it's a Toyota Corolla. This type of vehicle does do well with the elderly and, generally older people anyway. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is not my sort of thing, predictably. Even though I drive a Lexus, this is not my sort of thing. But I do appreciate it for what it is. Functional, simple to understand, and well made. Good job, Toyota. Well, that took an embarrassingly long time to figure out. The prop rod is attached to the hood itself, and you have to unfold it and put it in there. That was strange. I don't know that I've seen that before. Now, I would prefer hydraulics because this car costs 50 grand, but I digress. Anyway, perhaps unsurprisingly, the Toyota Corolla Cross is hybrid only now. There are 2 hybrid powertrains to choose from. There's a 1.8-liter hybrid 4-cylinder with 140 horsepower. That one's front-wheel drive only. And there's this, the 2-liter hybrid 4-cylinder with 180 horsepower. That one gets a front-wheel drive or optional all-wheel drive. The engine by itself makes 133 horsepower, but with the combined output, the combined output is 180 horsepower and 190 newton meters of torque. That power goes to, as I said, the front wheels or all 4 wheels through a CVT automatic transmission. On the 2-liter hybrid, 0 to 100 kph takes a surprisingly solid 7.6 seconds. What the hell is that? 0 to 100 kph takes 7.6 seconds, according to Toyota, and the top speed is 180 kilometers an hour, or 112 miles an hour. Toyota also touts an average fuel consumption of 5 liters per 100 kilometers of driving, and in my experience, not only can you achieve that, you can very much exceed it.
And that's the Toyota Corolla Cross. And as the title of this video says, it is exactly as the name says. It's sort of an automotive anti-clickbait. It doesn't try to sell you on anything that it can or can't do. It's just a Toyota Corolla packaged up in a more practical and for a lot of people more approachable, more sensical crossover package. And that's why I really appreciate the Corolla Cross. It's not my sort of thing, but I really appreciate it for what it is. The Toyota Corolla Cross gets a score of 8.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. If you liked it, be sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think of the Toyota Corolla Cross in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.